Giving your boss impersonal feedback is tough enough, but giving personal feedback can be what we call a CLM, a career-limiting move. If you want to earn the right to give your boss feedback, there are 3 important criteria that you have to meet. Welcome to Moments with Marty, your short, sharp shot of leadership insight to help you to stay on track between our weekly episodes of the No Bullshit Leadership podcast. One of the most common reasons that people give for resigning from their job is that they can't work for their boss. Now, we know from our personal experience that there isn't an oversupply of great leaders out there. So rather than job hopping every 6 months, we settle for the boss we've got and we try to find ways to work around their most annoying behaviours. But it's only a matter of time before that wears thin and we decide to take the nuclear option. We resign. Before you push that big red button though, it might be helpful to think about other ways of improving your situation. Perhaps you could find a way to improve your relationship with your boss by giving them feedback. Now, over the course of my 30-plus year career in senior corporate roles, I saw lots of situations where a misunderstanding of intent led to catastrophic outcomes in both directions. You'd be amazed at how much unspoken animosity is created simply because of a communication breakdown. You'd also be amazed to hear that most leaders above you in the structure are willing to change, if only they're made aware of the negative impact they're having. But in the absence of any feedback, they'll rationalise and they'll tell themselves that everything is fine, and if it's not fine, it must be someone else's fault. We all do this to some extent, and your boss is only human. I find it useful to separate feedback into 2 categories, impersonal and personal. All feedback that goes in a downwards direction, in other words, to someone below you in the organisational hierarchy, well, that can be considered personal, simply because of the power imbalance. But if you do choose to give your boss feedback, it's helpful to work out whether the feedback you want to give them is personal or impersonal. Now, impersonal feedback would be things like influencing their decisions, having input to problems, identifying opportunities for improved performance, managing resource constraints, stuff like that. Personal feedback is about the individual. So for your boss, that would be things like pointing out problems with their behaviour, things that they're doing to impair team performance, identifying their leadership blind spots, analysing their mistakes. It's very different, isn't it? Giving your boss impersonal feedback is tough enough, but giving personal feedback can be what we call a CLM, a career-limiting move. If you want to earn the right to give your boss feedback, there are 3 important criteria that you have to meet. The first is that your own performance has to be really strong. The second is you should have already established a foundation of trust by giving valuable impersonal feedback. And thirdly, you have to know what you're talking about, and you have to have thought it through pretty carefully. Before you just blurt out what you think your boss needs to hear, make sure you've earned the right to tell them. Now, it took me decades to achieve what I consider to be an elite ability to deliver feedback. And as part of my life's purpose to improve the quality of leaders globally, I've made all of my insight and wisdom on feedback available to you in our Leadership Beyond the Theory program. I absolutely view feedback as a gift. I welcome any information that I can get that helps me to improve. But on several occasions, someone who reported to me gave me feedback that was entirely off the mark. And because their own performance was questionable, they didn't have the credibility they needed to tell me where they thought I was falling short. Look, I'm trying to be a better person, but I'm still not going to have someone whose performance is awful telling me what I'm doing wrong. You'll find, though, that if you earn the right to give your boss feedback, it's going to improve every aspect of your work situation. For more depth on this insight, have a listen to episode 284 of the No Bullshit Leadership podcast, Giving Your Boss Feedback. We'll leave a link in the show notes. I really hope you enjoyed this moment and that it gives you that extra little spark to be a no bullshit leader.